Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. Welcome to the Full 100, as you know, where the truth's told. It's the first edition of the week. Today is Monday, the 7th of September, and wow, 3 months to the end of the year already. Guys, my first show of the week, I last spoke to you guys on Thursday regarding the 2 new victims' names to add to the very long list of black individuals, male and female, who have died at the hands of the police. The 2 new names, as you know, Dion Kay and Daniel Prude. The case is ongoing, guys. When I aired my show on Thursday, I had some visitors from the QAnon section of society, the nutty section of society. And you know what I do now? I really don't answer, I really don't respond to them any longer. I've decided I'm going to start praying for them, but not what you think. As in, pray for them to experience the same thing. Okay? I had somebody say to me, you're so dumb. He had a gun, and the thug had a gun. He had a gun he was throwing away, running away from the officers. These are the same people that when after George Floyd was saying, well, prove it was murder. How do we know it was murder? See, those people, please, if you watch my show and you wanna, rather than respond to them or get upset, just do what I did over the weekend. I prayed that their child should suffer the same thing, and then they can come back and speak to me again. So guys, without further ado, let's get to today's show. I want to start with the late Dion Kay. Another video's come out. This idiot claimed he was shot in the front, in his chest. There was a cop's body cam facing him, but there were 2 cops behind him, and he was shot in the back. And he was shot as he was running away from them, throwing the gun away. Now, America is a country with more guns than mice, as I always say. And gun is something that they are used to. Now, I've aired on my channel a video, especially one that was so shocking, it blew my mind that this guy could get out of this alive. Knowing what we know about police in the US. This guy fought 8 to 10 police officers in a city hall, in a town hall foyer. You saw the video, I aired it on my channel. Not just did he do that and escape scot-free, he pulled one of their guns and fired it and got probation for his efforts. That, for those who don't understand, is what we're talking about. Okay, so here's a video of Dion Kay's last moments on earth. No one should ever be shot in the back. No one should ever have their necks, no one should ever be strangled till they stop breathing for the sake of arresting them. No one should get shot in the back running away from your assailant or from anyone. Okay, so here's a video, another clip from another take of Dion Kay's last moments. Take a look.
Police released this body cam footage showing an officer fatally shoot 18-year-old Dion Kay. Officers say they were responding to a report of a man with a gun, and Kay ran and pulled a gun before being shot. A slowed down version of the video shows Kay throw a gun just as he's being shot, which the officer finds in the video down the hill. The shooting led the local Black Lives Matter group to tweet, quote, DC police murdered a black man, calling for immediate protest, which took place at the police station. Katie.
Welcome back, guys. As I said, no one should be shot in the back running away. No child. He was 18. He just turned 18. Now, I want to move over to Daniel Prude's case now. The difference between these 2 cases, guys, is quite remarkable, because with Dion Kay, whose clip I just showed you, it happened the day before, the very next day the clip was out. Because in their minds, they thought, oh, well, when the public sees that he had a gun, he was throwing the gun, they will say we're justified. No, you're not justified to shoot him. But that was their calculation in bringing that video out. Whereas you got Daniel Prude, who was killed in March. They refused to release the video. They said he was spitting at them and he wasn't. They put the mask on him without him spitting at them. It's clear, you could see in the video when they arrived to when they put the mask on him, he didn't spit not once. So they had no reason to put that on his head. But they put it on his head, they tightened it and they put his head down. That's why they held on to the video for a good 6 months. Now the information has just come out. It's only now they've suspended the 7 officers. And somebody want to tell me that this is normal behavior? So the update on Daniel is that the protests have just kicked in now. The questions have just kicked in now. The 7 officers have just now been arrested, been laid off or whatever, put on suspension. Personally, they should all be charged. Why weren't they put on suspension a week after the incident? Why weren't they put on suspension a month after, 2 months after? When they released the video to the family, why didn't they say, well, we're releasing it, but just so you know, we're going to put them on suspension, now we've seen it? No, they waited till it was an uproar. They waited to see what the public would say. Would the public make noise? Would the public not make noise? So now the public's made noise. Okay, we're gonna put you on suspension now. This is the game that the police unions over in America as well as here, that's the power they have. So take a look at an update on Daniel Prude's situation in the US.
For the 4th night in a row, Rochester, New York saw tense interactions between police and protesters. Rochester police say they deployed tear gas and pepper balls on the crowd after some began to throw bottles at officers. At least 9 were arrested. Demonstrators are demanding justice for Daniel Prude, a black man who died following an encounter with police back in March. All 7 officers involved were suspended earlier this week. CNN's Polo Sandoval is following all of the developments from Rochester. Polo, give us an update. What's happening right now with the protests on the ground and also more broadly the investigation?
Well, Dana, let's start with the protests. Right now, the group coming together again. It's going to be the 5th night that protesters hit the streets of Rochester, calling not just for justice, but also for change in light of the death of Daniel Prude, returning to the very site where that incident happened back in March. And today, a response coming from the mayor and the police chief, specifically addressing the issue of mental health. Dana, the incident happened in March. Mr. Prude's brother called police, saying that his 41-year-old brother was experiencing a mental health episode, and that's when police encountered him on this very spot where I'm standing. So today, the mayor announcing change on multiple fronts here. They plan to double the amount of health professionals that could be potentially available for these kinds of calls.
With what's going, my son asked me, after he saw my video on Thursday, he said, Dad, you look sad. I was sad. I was sad when I saw Jacob Blake shot 7 times in the back, in the middle of us marching. It was like a week before the Million People March that I'm a co-organizer of, as you're aware of. Then a week later, less than a week after we've marched, an 18-year-old is shot in the back. It does get to you that, what sort of monsters are these people that can just look on someone's child? That 18-year-old was a precious human being to somebody. So my message to my son was, I have to be sad. I'm not the BBC that are trained to report stuff without emotions. I have emotions. And you're going to know when I'm upset and when I'm happy with an outcome, or when I'm amused, or, whatever my emotions are, you're going to see it. Now, this clip I'm about to show you is the sort of entitlement that supremacists feel. You see, when the EDL are out marching, or the KKK are out marching, it's their day. They want to do that. You know what? Let the authorities deal with them. We stay home. When we march, these idiots believe they're entitled to come out in their guns, come out in their militia outfits, and even when they're not dressed in militia outfit, they still feel entitled that they can march through the crowd because I'm white, and if you touch me, you're... And all that's doing is stoking And we saw last week 3 people died as a result of this stupid behavior. 2 on the side of the protesters and 1 on Trump's side. Thank God. I'm still waiting for another one to equal the number, and I apologize to anyone who's offended by that. But the next video I'm about to show you is why I can say those things, is why I'm angry enough to say that, is why I don't care who gets upset that I'm saying that, because I don't condone murder. But if Trump, the president of the United States, can condone what that 17-year-old did in killing 2 people, then surely I can condone that the video you're about to see, this guy should have been in his home, and seeing as he decided to do this, to stalk and push people, he should have got smoked.
She will respect you. I promise you, your mom will still be proud of you. She's still gonna love you. Right now, she loves you, but she don't like you. She don't like what you've been doing every day.
Get out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Fuck you, Joey! Somebody's here to give you a fucking door! Fuck you, Joey! Get the fuck out of here! Fuck you, Joey! Get the fuck out of the street! Get the fuck out of here! Nobody wants to give you your goddamn story! Bye, Joey! Don't give him the fucking story!
Guys, that guy is a symptom of the presidency of the United States, because Donald Trump's the chief stoker. He's the chief stoker. He's the race war commander-in-chief, if you like. He's the one who has race war in the back of his head. Now, if he was not stoking and making things worse, that idiot that you saw walk through the crowd because he can, and there were police there to protect him, and no one's going to touch him because he's white. If Donald Trump was not in the White House, people like that would stay away. Here is the stoker-in-chief himself in a whole load of trouble over the weekend, talking the sort of stuff that we know he says. It's come out in loads of different books from people who spend time with him. Now, because he's so close to the election, all of these stuff, people who are worried about him getting a second term. I'm not worried he's going to get a second term. He's beaten down and out. But there are people who think, you know what, just to make sure, let me tell you what this guy is doing behind closed doors. So have a look at my next 2.5 minute video of what Donald Trump's weekend was like. Take a look.
And later, President Trump is denying reports he called America's fallen service members losers. The Secretary of Veterans Affairs joins me on that later.
Have you with us. Less than 2 months to go until the presidential election, which means tell-all book season has arrived. And the latest from President Trump's former attorney and fixer, Michael Cohen, is stunning. CNN has obtained a copy of Disloyal, a memoir by Cohen, and it paints a damning picture of the president. For example, in the wake of Trump's presidential kickoff announcement in 2015, Trump allegedly tells Cohen, and I'm quoting, "I will never get the Hispanic vote. Like the blacks, they are too stupid to vote for Trump. They're not my people." Cohen also alleges after President Obama's win in 2008 that Trump said this, quote, "Tell me one country run by a black person that isn't a S-hole. They are all complete effing toilets." And there's another tell-all coming out this week. According to the Washington Post, former FBI agent Peter Strzok alleges in his book Compromised that investigators had to consider whether Russia was secretly controlling Trump after he took office, writing, "Given what we knew or had cause to suspect about Trump's compromising behavior in the weeks, months, and years leading up to the election, it also seemed conceivable, if unlikely, that Moscow had indeed pulled off the most stunning intelligence achievement in human history, secretly controlling the President of the United States, a Manchurian candidate elected." The president's character is also under fire for alleged remarks about America's war debt. A former senior administration official tells CNN Trump referred to fallen U.S. service members in crude and derogatory terms, largely confirming a report from The Atlantic magazine, which cited sources who said Trump referred to U.S. war dead as losers and suckers.
President as a cheat, a liar, a fraud, a bully, a racist, a predator, a con man, and that is just one sentence of that book. He also goes...
We're on the last video now. Total change of genre. This is a quick update on UK's COVID situation, not the global one. UK, what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to start focusing on the UK because it looks like we're having a second spike, which I've always been worried about. Kids have just gone back to school. It's not a funny situation. Many countries are seeing a rise now. Spain has just seen the biggest number since the early days. We've just seen the biggest number since May, even though the deaths are still only 2 tiny deaths. However, guys, I have to tell you, the numbers you're going to see at the end, the number of deaths you're going to see at the end of this is fake. Very fake. It's a lot higher. A lot of people say to me, oh, they're putting the numbers up. And I say to them, listen, if you were the owner of a cafe or a restaurant, or you're the manager of a school canteen, a college cafeteria, and food poisoning broke out at your premises that you're in charge of, what would your tendency be? Would your tendency be to put the numbers down and suppress it so people don't think it's as bad as it is? Or would your tendency be to escalate the numbers? So if 5 people got sick, would you be going, oh, no, it weren't 5 people that got sick. 15 people actually got sick in my premises. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. But in the conspiracy theorists' minds, that's what's happening. And it's really crazy when I hear people say it, because CNN was the first to blast the UK that their numbers were down by 52% of what John Hopkins University was quoting. So that's a whole nother show and a whole nother conversation. But have a quick 30-second look at what we're dealing with in the UK, and I'll see you guys on the other side to say my goodbyes.
Around this morning, the Health Secretary Matt Hancock says he is concerned after the latest coronavirus figures showed a significant increase in the number of cases in the UK.
Almost 3,000 cases were reported yesterday. That's a rise of 1,175 on the day before.
It's the highest number reported on a single day since the 22nd of May. A further 2 deaths were also recorded in the UK. That takes the total to 41,551.
Let's have a look at what those figures mean and try and get a sense of what could be behind that increase from...
Guys, come to the end of the show. I should be back on every day now. I do have a lot on my hands, to be honest. I've got 2 documentary film crews I'm involved in at the moment. One of them specifically is very much active with myself at the moment. So in the meantime, guys, I should be available every day to bring you guys up to date with what's going on in the world. But I might miss a day or two if in the next couple of weeks, once things settle down and we get ourselves into a normal routine. So in the meantime, guys, enjoy your evening. Have a fabulous week ahead, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care now. Bye-bye.